Hello everyone. All of you sadistic people, I think this is what you've been waiting for. Up until now, I've been taking my body panels and copying them in fiberglass, but it's very tedious. It takes a half a day to make each one, then it needs to cure, then I need to paint it. So basically it takes a whole day. And I found out I can buy this fender for 600 bucks. So to me, it's not worth wasting a day's worth of work to save $600. Sorry, it's hot today. Anyway, so now you get to see me actually cut my first C8 body panel. All right, get everything settled here. I believe that's right. Yep, there we go. All right, so what I did was I put that front end on here. Previously, this fender was off, and I was mocking everything up. Well, this way I can use the fender that's here. All the mounting points are on this back edge. All the gaps are automatically taken care of, so I don't have to duplicate that. But when I put that on there, the fender sticks out too far. I need to push it in. I can't push it in because it's hitting right here. Now, previously, what I did was I cut the back edge to match this, and then I cut the inside to match here. The hood was closed, so I had clearance for the hood. Then I put this on. I wanted to make sure it would go in without this in place, and make sure that this was the limiting factor. And then when I put this back in place, sure enough, it came back out. I couldn't get it to go back in. I got underneath here with that fender on there, roughly marked the spots. There is a mount up here that mounts, and so I didn't want to cut that because this is what the front end mounts to, and I will probably do the same thing with the front end, hack it up and use it. So it mounts along this back edge. I think there's like 4 bolts there. There's a bolt under here, there's one here, and one down here, and that's what holds this on. Okay, so I want to make sure that structurally everything in between here is in place, and at some point I'll get rid of all that, but here it goes. There it is. There's the first cut. By the way, there's also a metal piece with some big black box here that was mounted. I had to unmount it, move it out of the way. I'll have to figure out how to remount it. First off, we have to figure out what it is, what it does, and then I have to remount it. Okay, next step is to find my towel, because I don't want to scratch up. As bizarre as it sounds, I don't want to scratch stuff up because parts of this are going to show. Don't know which parts yet. Now, I could have just cut that a rectangle, but when you do a rectangle, you add stress points in the corners. So by cutting it circular, it helps to alleviate potential stress points. Okay. So I set this in place. And if I did this right, this should have been able to go down there. You can see it doesn't. So what that means is I didn't cut enough off. So now I have to take this out so I can see. Or the front end's too low. No, I don't think the front end's too low. But it is too far over that way because the center of the hood is right here. This has to come over, and it won't. So now I have to get underneath here and see what's hitting. And I didn't cut it far enough forward, and maybe not deep enough. Back here it's got, I don't know, about an inch, 2 finger widths. Here it's touching. If I'd gone forward about another 6 inches. But there's a bracket right there, a metal bracket. That sucks. All right. Okay, then. All right, so yeah, it's touching right at this corner. All right, so this is just trial and error. I was hoping to do this in one cut, but it doesn't really matter. It could be done in multiple cuts, but you can see that I can make it work by pushing this over. It pivots around that point, and that one goes into where it's supposed to go. So definitely that one spot was my problem. This thing is really flexible. I made it light on purpose because I was warned that I would be taking this on and off and on and off a whole bunch of times. So the lighter it is, the easier that's going to be to do. Now if I reach under here, I feel the metal bracket right here. So what I'm going to do is mark where that metal bracket is. So I should have come forward more like this. That metal bracket has a corner right there. I'm going to see if I can get away with doing that, and then I'll bring this as long as I'm cutting. Let's do that. All right, and I'll round this off too. All right, this corner doesn't matter because it's an external corner. It could be square, but any internal corner is where you could induce cracks. Let's try it again. Now, how many of you would have the guts to go off and cut up your $75,000 car? Still not there. So you can see it's hitting something right there. So let me get under, let's see what that something is. Now I can tell from where the cloth is pinched that it's right here. If I pull it up from here, it comes up to here. So somewhere in between here, or it could be all the way in between there, is where the issue is. All right, where that metal bracket is where the issue is. I mean, exactly. I don't know what that metal bracket amounts to. No? Well, that's good. I have absolutely no clue what that metal bracket does. But it's almost looking like it's got to go. But if I get rid of it, that really cuts down the rest of this a whole lot. Conundrum. All right. It basically needs to come forward a lot more, but then it almost looks like I'm still going to have issues even after I get that out of the way. Yep. Okay, well, I just have to cut a whole lot more out. That's all there is to it. Now, I was tempted to cut this out, but that shows, that back there doesn't show. So, what the heck? I've ruined a fender anyway. Alright. Okay, so there is a metal bracket. There's the edge of the metal bracket right there. Tell you what, I'll show you what I'm dealing with. Okay, if you look inside of here, get it to focus. There it is. This metal bracket right here. I don't know what that hole does. I'm sure. I don't know. Okay, and it literally is a piece of metal. Let me see if you can. There. The sun kind of messes it up. That doesn't help. All right, so you can see there's the edge of the bracket. Anyway, I really can't cut much more without cutting that metal. So my cutter will cut it. I've got a tungsten blade in the cutter, so it should cut through metal with no issue. Put my camera back where it was. I have a piece of cardboard that's marked, so that should be relatively close to where it was. All right, got the same problem again. It's also, even though once I get this out of the way, this right here is going to hit.
So if you look, I cut off a triangle from that bracket. I wouldn't think I hurt it very much structurally with that little triangle. The more I cut, obviously, the more I'm going to weaken it. But also, I can always make another bracket, make it point the other way instead of the way it points. Lots of options. All right, here we go again. You'll notice as I do this more and more, I get less and less careful about what I stretch out because my patience starts getting less. Okay. Now right now this is sitting on the spoiler, the bottom piece from the C8. Okay. All right. Just go this way quite a bit. Closer, still not there. Okay, now it's hitting the top of the fender right here. I could, well, remove this and just attach it straight to there. The problem with that, oh, there we go. All right, everything just had to line up because that is really close to right. Okay. Oh, it's not low enough. If I remember right, yeah, this door, so it's still way too high. So this piece across the top is causing the issue. So the challenge is that the eyebrow of the C2 Corvette is right here. It terminates. There's a flat part here, but right here is where it raises up. I could cut all the way to the eyebrow right here. I guess I'll do that and see what that does. And then it's hitting under here too. All right, so let me mark this. Let's see. If I mark the eyebrow, there's the eyebrow. Okay. So I need to leave the eyebrow in probably a little bit. So I can cut this along here. That out. So as you can see, this is just a bunch of trial and error. I don't want to cut the C8 panel right there if I can avoid it. So I'll cut my fender. The reason why is I can remake my fenders. I have the molds for them. I don't have the molds for the C8 parts.
See what that does. All right. Again, it's getting closer. Get under here and see what's hitting now. And sure enough, it just needs to go further in. That's where it's hitting. Well, it's right at that metal bracket is where it's hitting. I'm going to mark where this bracket is. All right. Edge of the bracket is right there. And right there. All right. Okay. When it gets right down to it, on this back part, all I really need is this mounting surface. This goes up and hits under there. I might end up just cutting this all the way back to there. So instead of inching up on this like I have been, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it all the way up to here. There's nothing behind here. So All right, so what I did was I followed the edge of the metal bracket right here. Okay, this is a bunch of trial and error. I have blocks here I can use to hold things in place. Okay, this would come forward a little bit. Much better. Yeah. Now, come over here and off. That's it. When I push this over, yeah, that comes out. Okay, so it's still, I bet it's still hitting that metal bracket. But I'm getting really close, you can see. Yep, it is. It's hitting right up to where I cut is where it's touching. So I could carve some more out of that if I wanted. That is fun. Okay. Now, there's nothing that says I have to make this come all the way in to where the C8 was. I just thought that would be ideal because then I could just bond this straight to there and be done with it. Let me get back at the back and see what that looks like. I could make that work. So I noticed earlier when I was looking that the C8 actually does have the eyebrow of the C2. It's just very subtle. So I could literally force that down and against there and right where those two meet. And what happens here is there's actually half an inch or so gap in between where the C8 fender top is and this fender top is. Okay, it's hitting somewhere like right in here. All right, so let me, again though, I don't want to get rid of the eyebrow. I'm just going to have to add it back in, so there's no point in cutting it out. I might have to extend it, or again, the hood for the new car could be at a higher level. The hood for this mold comes straight across here. I just was trying to keep this hood line on the C8 because it's going to make getting the hood to line and open and all of that much, much easier. But if I have to give that up, I will. I'm going to back up and see. Oh, let me go ahead and put the door in place. And what this will do is it will allow me to get a sight line of where that crease is. So, figure out where I'm at here. Okay. Goes there. This goes here. My tape's getting worn out. It might not stay. Okay. Now this is not going to go here because these vents don't look right. They don't line up right. They don't look right. Okay. But this is just something to put here because it would go right there. So you know what? That is close. You can see that body seam is really way down there because this came from right there. So this is really an inch below. So this really would be right there. If I pull that back, that actually helps quite a bit. In fact, it almost falls. Well, I still have that. All right, I'm gonna leave that there, and I'm gonna stand back and see. Okay, well, I stand back and look at it, and this right here actually does need to go down to meet that. All right, I'm going to look underneath again. It's getting closer. See, right now I'm flexing that metal bracket. It doesn't seem to make any difference. So it's something back here. Okay, it needs to go further back. Okay, we'll try it again. All right, if you look at this fender, it comes out right here. This is now what's causing the problem. We got it to move in here, but where this fender curves out is causing the issue. So if I have my marker, I want to keep this because that's the relative spot for the wheel opening. I might change it, but at least it gives me a reference point. So what I'm going to do is come down here into here, and I'm just going to go ahead and continue this line, and let's do something like that. All right. Well, there's not going to be much left of this fender by the time I'm done. All right. Wow, that just fell in place. Must be something misaligned up here. There we go. It's still not in the center here. I might have to put a spacer in here or something. Don't know. All right, so ideally I want this to be right there. Part of me is tempted to put a screw right there and just say that spot goes right there, and then make everything else work around that. I might end up doing that. Let's see. This is kind of a two-person job. I don't have another person, so there we go. It was caught on the spoiler. Okay, so if I take this and force that right there. It's close. Let's see what's doing it now. How strange. See, there's space here. I don't know what's hitting unless it's that right there, which it could very well be. Let me look underneath. Let's see if it reveals any secrets. And yep, sure enough, that's it. Okay. All right, so it is that peak right here. It stops right there. So I'm going to mark the edge of this. Okay. I could go as far as that much over. Not quite. I'd want to leave an inch for bonding strip or two. But if I could go that far over, and that would make sure none of this hits. You know what? There's another peak right there that could be causing an issue. Now here's the thing is, there is a bracket right here, and then this is where the front end comes in here. So I really would like to keep this part intact. What I could do later is I can come in and fill this, because this V right here was for the headlight. I'm not using that headlight, so I could give this strength back by filling it in here. Might have to do that. Okay, but again, right now this is causing the issue. Okay. All right, we're going to bite the big bullet here. I'm going to come up here, go like this, cut this peak out, come along here, and again I'm going to leave, let's just make it, well, we'll split the difference. There we go. I was going to leave an inch, and then I thought 2, but 2 puts it back over that edge, so I'll do 1.5 inches. So I'm taking my marker and I'm just following parallel pretty much to that line that I made from the inside edge. And this metal piece that I took off goes on a plate right here. So I'm getting to where that may cause an issue. That could be why they raised this up this much. So I'm going to... I live in an airport, so there's planes flying. I need a drink. All right. Try it again. fiberglass brace that's right here. Okay. We'll assume the factory over-engineered it. Okay. See, if this could go up that high, it just falls right in place. But I'm afraid that's going to make the front. Yep, it makes it point up in the air. Makes the nose point up in the air. But that lets you know how close it is. Just that little bit makes all the difference in the world. Okay. Once again, over here, push this in place. Pull it under here. And wow. Okay, from here I can see down the sight line, and it's not perfect, but it's awfully close. Mosquitoes are coming out. Okay, lower this down a little bit. Let me look and see what's hitting. It's getting closer though. It is literally right there. That's where it's hitting. Let's see if I want. Okay. What I just noticed is I pushed this back farther. If I push it forward, it falls right on there. That goes there, that goes there. Do that. So you can see that this piece right here, if I unscrew this, this is two pieces. It wasn't supposed to be. I was supposed to do this all in one, but I did it just for this reason. If I wanted to, I could take all of these screws out and I could look at what's going on. But this piece is not causing the problem, it's this piece. And then if I disconnect this piece from that, then I don't have any reference for this. So this allows everything to be aligned. Speaking of which, aligned. Needs to go over there. All right, not quite in the middle, but real close. That could be made to work. So it's touching here, and then right after this curves in. So there's a high spot right here. Now the challenge I have is that, oh well, I cut off a piece right here earlier. It's not like I cut off a whole lot. I only cut off that much. That went there. But that would give me another 1.5 inches to play with right there, which I may need now. Get in here and look at it again. And now when I move this, that piece that I left hanging here bounces up and down with this. So it's actually holding this up. It's just I cut out so much that it has no strength. But again, by changing the way that's, getting rid of that cutout, I can cut that whole back corner off. All right. Now, there are two options. One is to keep cutting away. Okay, let me show you what I've got. come over here and you look, it was actually obvious from over here. The car starts curving out. Just in front of the mirror. See the mirror? As soon as it leaves the mirror, it starts curving out. That's what's causing my issue now, is this 62 or C2 fender, I'm sorry, 67 C2 fender doesn't curve out. So to completely fix this, I would have to cut this all the way to there so that this curve out doesn't happen. The problem is that as I feel underneath here, and maybe you can see underneath here, that's the mounting bracket for the fender. It's not a metal bracket like the other one, it's actually fiberglass. When I take this apart next time, I'll show you. What they did was they created a shell that they wanted. And then wherever it mounts, what they did was they actually made separate pieces and bonded it to the shell, which is exactly what I'm doing. So it was kind of neat when I saw that, because that was my idea that I was going to use anyway. Okay, the other option I could do is grind that down. I could grind this peak down with my grinder, which is in the house. Or I can try cutting it with my multi-tool. Okay, that says that's aimed correctly. Yep, close enough. All right, I'm gonna do it with my multi-tool. So this peak right here is causing the problem. It's going away. Some of you may be wondering why I don't use a jigsaw here, because it would seem that would be a better tool. Yes, it would, but there's a reason why I'm not using it, and that is that I found out in using the multi-tool that anything other than tungsten blades, the fiberglass eats up in like a few inches. You can see I have way more than a few inches. I don't have any tungsten blades for my jigsaw. So that's why I'm doing this. Otherwise, I'd be eating up jigsaw blades. It would go a little faster until the blade gets dull. I'd have to be constantly changing blades. All right. Isn't this fun? All right. Again, right there, just would be wonderful if that's where it went. Oh, it's getting closer. Board under here. And just a little tweak here. All right, from here, that really, I mean, it's really close considering nothing's attached. So once I put screws in there, actually, and then fiberglass, of course. But once I do that, I can pull this a little bit to get it to where I want it to go. Okay. All right. It's not in the center. Pull it. There we go. Okay, that's closer to center. I was wondering why that door edge was way off, because I measured. Yep, sure enough. Okay. Okay. It's still this issue right here. But like I said, I can fix that. I'm going to do that. Again, a grinder, I could grind that flat or blend this in. Okay. Oops, I wish that wouldn't move that little bit. All right. This is where another person would come in. They could just sit here and hold this for me and I could get back and look, I'm just going to have to say, all right, if that was another ½ inch down, what would it look like? Okay, that's honestly as good as I'm going to get. I'm going to have to play some games with the body part line, because this just, it needs to go down another inch, and I just don't see how I can easily do that without, I mean, major surgery. And my goal was to avoid doing major surgery here. Now what I could do is, let me try to see where this eyebrow is. Okay, I could, it does look like this eyebrow comes here and it comes to right here. Let me try that. It's getting late. All right, let me try. What was I doing there? Not going to detach that yet. But you can see that that'll allow me to go down just a little bit more. Okay. Going that down. That'll stay there. Okay. And then once I get to here, there's a little bit of airspace, so I'm going to there we go. And guess what? It lines up with the center. All right. My rough measurement said that if I get all this lined up, the center would line up, but I wasn't convinced. Okay, so like I said, I could actually put a screw right there, and that would help. All right, it's getting late. I'm getting tired. This is not getting any better. If I had a screwdriver, which I don't, I would take these screws out and then move this out of the way and see how much down, I can move this. Again, I'm just trying to get this line here to line up. I'm going to pull this off and see that I can actually use this as the inside of the eyebrow once it gets up to this point. So that means I could actually cut it out. It's not going to help a whole lot, but that will get it down. I could make it to where this surface and that surface are flush with each other. Again, every little bit helps. Again, it's getting awfully close. Okay, I'm going to call it a night. Honestly, if I did detach that, now I wish, of course, I wish I wouldn't have cut that, because now I could probably use that. Establish the eyebrow. So what I'm wondering is, could I have left this edge right there and completely removed this inside part of the eyebrow, attach that to the fender at whatever spot it needs to be. If it needs to be way down here, then that's what I would do. But now I've got to fill in all that area that I cut out. Again, tomorrow's another day. Okay, well, this is what it's like trying to figure out how to build a car or change a car or do what I'm doing. Okay, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.